The 2060 North Dakota State Quarter Dollar in its rare error forms. To most people, this coin looks like just another piece of the state quarters program, an ordinary design you might not think twice about. But to collectors who know the truth, this coin represents one of the most extraordinary treasures in modern U.S. coinage. And tonight, we're diving deep into its story, its history, its astonishing errors, and why you should never overlook in your change, because it just might change your life forever. The State Quarters program, launched in 1999, was designed to celebrate the 50 states in the order they joined the Union. By 2006, the program was well underway and had already captured the imagination of millions of Americans. North Dakota was chosen as one of the featured states that year, and its quarter showcased a design that honored the state's natural beauty to American bison grazing in the rugged Badlands, with detailed landscape work in the background. It's a striking design, one that symbolized both the wild spirit and the natural history of North Dakota. Struck in Denver with the D mint mark, millions of these coins were produced, and for most people they were simply another collectible quarter to slot into a map or folder. But in that massive production run, something unexpected happened. A handful of errors escaped the mint, errors so rare and so dramatic that they transformed this quarter from pocket change into a piece of treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. The 2060 North Dakota State Quarter Dollar is most famous among collectors for its spectacular error types. One of the most dramatic is the double strike error. This occurs when a coin is struck more than once by the dies, causing the design to overlap, shift, or appear ghosted across the surface of the coin. On a coin like the North Dakota quarter, this can create surreal images where the bison appear doubled, or where the lettering and state outline are distorted. Collectors love these dramatic mistakes, and because they are so rare on state quarters, especially from Denver in 2006, their value skyrockets. A strong double strike with clear duplication can easily soar into the $40,000 range, especially when graded and authenticated by a leading service like PCGS or NGC. Another extraordinary error associated with the 2060 North Dakota State Quarter Dollar is the off-metal or wrong planchette strike. In these cases, the design of the North Dakota quarter was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a different coin. Some were reportedly struck on experimental or foreign plankets that slipped into the presses. These errors are immediately recognizable, either by their unusual weight, thickness, or metallic color. Imagine finding a golden-hued North Dakota quarter because it was struck on a duller coin planchette, or discovering one lighter than usual because it was struck on a dime blank. These rare off-metal errors are among the most valuable of all, with examples selling for $46,000 and in special cases, even close to $50,000. They represent mistakes that should never have left the mint, and their scarcity drives collectors wild. Off-center strikes also play a big role in the story of the 2060 North Dakota State Quarter Dollar. Off-center errors occur when the blank planchette is not perfectly aligned with the dies during striking, causing the design to appear shifted to one side, sometimes leaving part of the coin completely blank. A minor off-center strike might only be worth a few $100s, but a dramatic one, where the design is only partially on the coin yet still shows the date and mint mark, can easily cross into the tens of thousands. On the North Dakota quarter, a strong off-center error that leaves the bison grazing on the edge of the coin is both visually striking and exceptionally rare, which explains why some collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts to own one. Auction stories around the 2060 North Dakota State Quarter Dollar are legendary. Picture the scene. A coin dealer places a strange-looking North Dakota quarter up for sale, starting the bidding at a modest amount. Collectors quickly recognize what they're seeing: an off-metal strike or a dramatic double strike. The bids jump: $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $40,000. The room grows tense as two bidders battle it out, determined not to let the other win. Finally, the hammer falls at $46,000, leaving the audience stunned and the winner holding a true treasure. In rare cases, when the coin is of exceptional quality or the error is especially dramatic, bids have climbed even higher, touching that elusive $50,000 mark. These are the moments that fuel the passion of coin collecting and keep the legend. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that looks just like the one sitting in your pocket change right now. But instead of being worth just 25 cents, it could sell for, or even much $55,000. Yes, you heard that right, one of the most ordinary looking coins. The 1999 P Connecticut State Quarter Dollar has rare error versions that turn this simple piece of pocket change into a small fortune, and in today's video, we're diving deep into the history, the design, the shocking errors, and the jaw-dropping values of this coin. By the end, you'll know exactly what to look for in your own collection, or even in your spare change that could make you thousands of dollars richer. The background: to understand why this quarter is so important, we have to rewind to the late 1990s. In 1999, the U.S. Mint launched what would become the most ambitious coin program in American history, the 50 State Quarters program. Over 10 years, from 1999 to 2008, every U.S. state would have its own unique quarter design. Each design captured something iconic about the state. And for Connecticut, the Mint chose one of the most legendary trees in American history. Minting the Connecticut quarter. The 1999 P Connecticut quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, marked by the small P mint mark on the obverse under George Washington's bust. Now here's the thing: millions upon millions of these were minted. To be exact, over 1.3 billion Connecticut quarters rolled out in 1999. So with numbers like that, you might be wondering, how can one be worth thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars? The rare, most valuable errors: off-center strikes. Some Connecticut quarters have off-center strikes so extreme that parts of Washington's face or the charter oak are missing. The more dramatic the off-center, the higher the value. $4,000 to $5,000. Double strikes and multiple strikes. A Connecticut quarter with a bold double strike has been known to fetch $7,000 to $10,000 at auction. Wrong planchette errors. These dramatic wrong planchette errors are extremely rare and can sell for $20,000 to $35,000. Experimental plankets. One such coin sold for nearly $45,000 at auction, and experts believe others could easily reach $55,000 or more if discovered. Auction records that shock collectors. Let's look at some real-world sales that left collectors stunned. A Connecticut quarter struck on a dime planchette sold for $24,000. A double-struck Connecticut quarter with dramatic overlapping images went for $30,000. And the experimental metal Connecticut quarter set the record, nearly $45,000, with experts predicting that if one comes to market in pristine condition, it could smash records and hit $55,000 or more. When you hear numbers like that, it's hard to believe we're talking about a 25-cent coin. How to identify one? So now the big question: how can you tell if your Connecticut quarter is special? Here's a checklist. Check the edges. Is the strike off-center? Is part of the design missing? Look for doubling. Pay close attention to the lettering and the tree branches. Ghost images are a huge clue. Weigh your coin. A normal quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. Anything drastically lighter or heavier could mean a wrong or experimental planchette. Check the metal color. Some experimental plankets look slightly different, darker, lighter, or with a strange tone. If you find anything unusual, it might be worth thousands. Why collectors go crazy for this coin? Collectors are obsessed with the 1999 P Connecticut error quarter for a few reasons. It's the first year of the State Quarters program that adds a historic layer of importance. The charter oak design is intricate. The more detail, the more chances for striking mistakes. The sheer rarity. Out of over 1.3 billion minted, only a handful with these dramatic errors are known. It's the perfect storm for high values. How to sell one, okay? So let's say you think you found one. What's next? Get it authenticated. Send it to a top grading service like PCGS or NGC. One of the most exciting, mysterious, and valuable is the 1999 D Georgia State Quarter Dollar. Some examples of this coin, thanks to remarkable minting mistakes and rare variations. Just think about that: a coin you could easily mistake for regular change might secretly be a treasure worth more than a used car, a vacation, or even a small down payment on a house. So stick with me to the very end, because the story of this coin, its errors, and the jaw-dropping values attached to it will surprise you at every turn. To fully understand why the 1999 D Georgia State Quarter Dollar became so legendary among collectors, we have to go back to the late 1990s. This was when the United States Mint launched the State Quarters program, one of the most ambitious and successful coin programs in American history. Beginning in 1999, Each state was honored with its own quarter design, issued in the order that states entered the Union. Georgia, the fourth state, was also the fourth design to be released in the series that year. The quarter proudly displayed a peach, the state's iconic symbol of agriculture and identity, along with live oak sprigs and the state motto wisdom, justice, moderation. Millions of these coins were struck, and for most people, they were simply pocket change. Second, there are off-center strikes, double strikes, and misaligned die errors that add to the fascination with this coin. While these types of mint mistakes are generally more common, finding them on a Georgia quarter from the very first year of the state quarters program increases their desirability. Some show dramatic shifts in the design, with the peach or the state outline visibly off-center, creating a quirky, one-of-a-kind look. A strong off-center strike can easily boost a coin's value into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on how much of the design remains visible and how well the date is preserved. Another highly prized error on the 1999 D Georgia state quarter dollar is the double die error, where the coin's design elements, such as the state motto or the lettering, appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die-making process. These coins are visually striking, and collectors love them because the doubling is obvious to the naked eye. A strong double die can push values into the multi-thousand-dollar range, especially when authenticated and graded by trusted services like PCGS or NGC. Speaking of grading, condition plays a massive role in determining how much a rare Georgia quarter can fetch. A raw coin, meaning one not graded or certified, might sell for hundreds or a couple $1,000s if the error is evident. But a coin graded in mint state condition, especially MS65 or higher, can easily leap into the $6,000 to $9,000 bracket, and exceptional examples may break into that $15,000 territory. Collectors are always chasing the highest quality pieces, and when rarity meets high grade, the result is explosive prices at auction. The story doesn't end there. Auction records for the 1999 D Georgia state quarter dollar are filled with dramatic moments where a simple quarter stunned everyone by fetching a fortune. Imagine sitting in an auction room, expecting a coin to sell for maybe $1,000, and then watching as bids climb past $6,000, $7,000, and finally hammer down at nearly $9,000. In rare cases, collectors willing to pay a premium for exceptional examples have driven values into the $15,000 range. Those are the moments that give this coin its legendary status. It's not just about metal and design, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the surprise of discovery, and the satisfaction of owning a piece of history that shouldn't even exist. The 1999 D Georgia state quarter dollar is clear. History, rarity, and error all combine to create something truly magical in the world of coins. These pieces remind us that incredible value can be hiding in plain sight, and that sometimes the most ordinary object, a simple quarter, can hold an extraordinary secret. So the next time you get change at the store or open that old jar of coins, take a close look. Because if you happen to spot a Georgia quarter with unusual weight, color, or design, you might just be holding a small piece of history worth thousands. And who knows, it could be the coin that turns out to be your or even $15,000 treasure. The 2001 P New York state quarter dollar, especially in its rare error forms. These coins, thanks to remarkable mistakes at the U.S. Mint, have risen to legendary status and have left collectors and treasure hunters in awe. Today, we're diving into the story of this coin, why it matters, the errors that make it so rare, and how ordinary people just like you might still stumble upon a piece of history. Imagine reaching into your pocket for some loose change, pulling out a state quarter, and realizing you're holding not just 25 cents. Not even just a collector's item, with a few $100s. The 2001 P New York state quarter dollar is the 11th release in the state quarters program, one of the most successful and widely collected coin programs in United States history. First launched in 1999, the program honored each state in the order it joined the Union, with New York being represented in 2001. The design of this coin is both symbolic and elegant. It features the outline of the state, a depiction of the Statue of Liberty, and lines of radiance representing the gateway to freedom. The words "Gateway to Freedom" are proudly inscribed, making it a true tribute to the history and spirit of New York. For most people, this coin was just one more state quarter to put in a folder or spend at the store. But for those who know the deeper story, this coin is far more than pocket change. It is a potential fortune. One of the most famous error types on the 2001 P New York State quarter dollar is the off-metal or wrong planchette strike. This happens when the design of the quarter is accidentally struck on a blank intended for another coin, often of different weight, size, or composition. In the case of the New York quarter, some examples were struck on experimental or foreign plankets. These stand out immediately because their color, thickness, or weight is not what you would expect from a normal copper-nickel clad quarter. Imagine seeing a New York quarter with a golden tint or a noticeably different edge that alone could mean you're holding a coin worth more than a brand new car. Some of these off-metal errors have been authenticated by top grading services and sold for upwards of $20,000 to $28,000. And in pristine condition, or under the right auction conditions, they have pushed close to the incredible $35,000 mark. One particularly fascinating error on the 2001 P New York State quarter dollar is the double die variety. This happens when the design is impressed onto the coin, creating die more than once, but slightly misaligned each time, causing letters, numbers, or design features to appear doubled. On New York quarters, some double dies show extra lines around the lettering or the rays of freedom. These errors are visually stunning and often noticeable without magnification, making them especially exciting for collectors. Depending on the strength of the doubling and the coin's condition, these double die errors have been known to climb into the multi-thousand-dollar range, and the rarest examples have sold for $20,000 and beyond. The condition of the 2001 P New York State quarter dollar is another factor that can turn a valuable coin into a truly priceless one. A coin pulled from circulation may still be worth a considerable amount if the error is dramatic, but coins preserved in mint state condition, graded MS-65 or higher, are where values skyrocket. Collectors and investors alike chase after high-grade error coins, knowing that once they're locked in certified holders by grading services like PCGS or NGC, their rarity and value are only amplified. For the 2001 P New York State quarter dollar, high-grade examples of major errors are exactly the kinds of coins that hit the $35,000 auction results. Auction stories for the 2001 P New York State quarter dollar are legendary. Picture a crowded auction hall or an online bidding war where a simple state quarter starts at a few $100s. The bids climb rapidly. $5,000, $20,000, $35,000, and the excitement builds as determined collectors battle it out. Finally, the hammer falls at $28,000, leaving the winner with a once-in-a-lifetime prize and the audience buzzing with disbelief. These are the moments that cement a coin's reputation forever. They also inspire everyday collectors to dream that maybe, just maybe, they'll find one in their own collection or in circulation.